Yeah.
Good morning, good afternoon, excuse me, Coldwell Banker George Realty. We have Elite Home Inspections in-house, and we were discussing the new balcony laws coming up, so it's going to be very interesting today. So sit back, enjoy your lunch for those that are here, and we'll get started. So I'm going to share screen, and it's pointed at Brent, and I am going to get his. Okay. Okay. Okay, take it away.
All right. Is there, or you want to do the page forward for me, or should I do that?
I couldn't, let's see, I was gonna have somebody come up from below to do it, but let's see. How do I, wait a minute, how do I do it? Just, oh, with my finger.
There you go. Okay, so those of you who don't know who we are, let me explain a little bit of who we are so you know that we know what we're talking about and we can speak educatedly about the things we're going to talk about. So Elite Group has been in business for 40 years, long time. In that time, we've conducted over 600,000 property inspections, mainly because we have a lot of people. 10,000 five-star reviews. We have actually 87 inspectors. That is the current count. We've got 4 more in training that'll be ready before the end of the year. We are available 7 days a week for inspections. We have more than 8 inspection services that we provide. We work in all 6 counties in Southern California. There are no companies like us, and you'll have your reports in 24 hours. We've fine-tuned this machine that is the home inspection industry. We are the leaders in the industry. Most companies out there try very hard to kind of copy our model, and many are very successful at it. There's 5 or 6 companies that we work. I run into them at meetings like this, and they're very, very good. They know their stuff. They only have like 9 to 12 people, though. We have, with our staff, our service staff, our call center staff, and our inspectors, we have about 107. So we're a large, large company. We spend most of our marketing doing meetings like this, educating you guys, hoping to answer your questions, because you're probably going to have some specific questions of your own, past, present, or future. And we also try to get in front of as many people as we can to remind them, one, we're here all the time, we're available for you, and we want to help you with your transactions and keep them smooth. All right, can you roll me forward?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so real quick. Of all states in the union, California has no licensing laws for home inspections. None. We're not required to be licensed. Insurance agents are, you are, lots of people are, contractors are. Home inspectors are not, not required to be licensed in California, which I think is really great. But so what you want to look for, whether you use us or anybody else, do 2 things. Make sure they are certified. There's 2 certifications. The INTERNACHI is the large one. It's an international body of home inspections. We like their standards because they're a little more strict. There are a couple of other minor ones that some people will have, but make sure your guy is certified or gal, and make sure that they are insured. Please make sure that they're insured. Here's why. If you get an inspection from us and it's going to cost $500, but you can get it for $250 from somebody else, and you go with that guy who's got $250. What if he doesn't have insurance? If he's wrong about something, or if he misses something that is material to that home and there is a loss later, they're going to knock on the inspector's door and can't get blood from a stone. So they're going to knock on your door next. And it's going to be under probably your errors and omissions insurance. None of us like to use it. We have errors and omissions. We don't like to use ours either because it's got huge deductibles, right? So make sure whatever home inspection company you use, typically us or anybody out there in the world, insured and certified. Please do yourself that favor. That's part of your due diligence. Make sure that's your homework. Okay, go ahead and skip forward. Okay, what is I put home inspection. This goes for any property inspection, commercial, residential. There's 4 things you want to understand about inspections. First of all, they're visual. They're only what we can see. There are things we can't see. For example, if there is a problem behind this wall, my inspector is never going to see it. Now, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit to the non-invasive. That also means we're not going to carve any holes in this wall to look inside the wall to see if there's a problem. So we use equipment like moisture meters. You've probably seen this done a billion times. We put a little machine up to the wall and it'll tell us the percentage of moisture that's in that wall. If it reads fairly high, 30%, 50%, whatever it is, we know that there's moisture behind the wall, but we may not see where it's coming from. So we'll see, or you'll see language in the report like, see so-and-so for further evaluation, see a plumber or see a drywall person or that kind of thing. We're going to kick it to a contractor because that's more their specialty than ours. Okay. The reason we can't take anything apart is back to the licensing thing. We're not licensed contractors either, so we're not licensed to put it back together again. I mean, many of our guys could probably do it, but you want a licensed and insured person to do that. Our insurance does not cover construction. It covers inspections. So construction type things are excluded from our insurance, which is why we don't get involved in that at all. Everything, I guarantee you guys do in your business, like ours, has to do with liability. It really does. It all comes down to who's liable for what and what you want to take on and what you don't. That's really what it is. So we don't carve any holes in the walls. We don't take anything apart. We're not going to take apart piece by piece the whole AC unit to make sure everything's where it should be and working properly, but we will turn it on, turn it off, make sure the registers blow cold air when it's supposed to at the temperature it's supposed to, hot air similarly, things like that. But we're not going to take apart the unit. We're not going to lift up roof tiles and move all kinds of stuff. So it's visual, non-invasive, and the most important thing, it's a snapshot in time of the moment that we are inspecting it. I could tell you stories for hours about the differences between the day we inspected and what happened within 1 or 2 days. And then the agent or the buyer go back to the property and find, well, how come you didn't see this? Well, I took a picture of that, but it's not in my picture. You can see here, it happens all the time. And it could be really strange things. We could see, I was just telling him the other day, we went up into an attic and there was insulation everywhere and there was a vent pipe that never went through the roof. It was just laying down in the attic, which is not that big a deal. The reason the buyer found it is they had a pest control person out there and they removed all of the insulation. So the pipe was there, everything's whatever. And there was something else, can't remember what it was. It was something else behind the pipe against the wall that wasn't supposed to be there. It was underneath the insulation. Our pictures of the attic show the insulation. Carpeted pink stuff everywhere, right? There's no way we would have seen it unless we lifted all the insulation, which we do not do. Again, non-invasive. We're not going to do that kind of stuff because we're not licensed to put it back. I know that sounds silly, but it's true. So when the buyer says, hey, how come you didn't? We can show our report. We were in the attic. We were in that corner of the attic. Here's the pictures of that corner of the attic. Whatever was there that was underneath this insulation, we would never have seen in the first place. And it's just the way it is. But suddenly, a couple days later, something changed. All the insulation was pulled out. Then everything was easy to see. If the insulation was gone when we went up, we would have found other things and reported on those. That's just how it works. So, and I'll get to this point a little bit later because access is a big, big deal for us and should be a big deal for you guys too. And I'll give you some examples that will help you out. Being able to get to something, to be able to see it, is gold to us. The more we can see of the property, we're happy to take thousands of pictures if we have to. We can write you a 150-page report. We probably won't, but we can put as much in the report as you'd like. And there's a couple reasons you'll want to do that. But we have to be able to get to it and we have to be able to see it. Not dig for it, not take things apart, things like that. So visual, non-invasive, snapshot in time. And just for your client's sake, we get this a lot. About 90% of our calls for booking appointments is from agents. So you guys really are our primary client. We have to take care of your client as well as you do. So you keep a lifetime client and then we keep a lifetime client in you. That's our little circle of life. That's how it works. But there's a lot of clients out there when they call us, well, is it going to fail? Is it going to pass? They have it in their head that it's a pass-fail thing. Like a house is going to pass or fail an inspection. And I tell them the same thing all the time. We will find defects in every property on the planet. Brand new builds, you can't imagine what we find wrong with new builds. Not always the manufacturer's fault, just some things happen. Moisture is our worst enemy, and it's usually what we find. Moisture here, moisture there, a leak here, or a drip there. That's common. But we find them everywhere. New builds, old builds, whatever, we're going to find them. I've never seen a report with less than 3 or 4 things in red. Never. I've never seen one come with nothing in red, nothing. So we're going to find something. It doesn't mean it passes or fails. Our job as inspectors is to convey to your client, and with you present, obviously, at the inspection, whatever is wrong with this house. It's usually manageable. You know, it's a little fix here, it's a little fix there. You know, here's an issue with the house. It's going to be in red. It's going to be in your report in red. So please don't freak out. But this is something that if you don't take care of 12 months from now, it's not going to make your house fall down. But it is something you're going to want on your radar to fix in some, you know, time frame of 1 or 2 or 3 years, something like that. We usually try to give them an urgency guide. You know, these things you got to take care of as soon as possible. So within the first year you live here, you know, these are the things you want to take care of first. And then all the rest of like a smoke detector. If it doesn't work, it's got a battery missing, it's just defunct, whatever it is, that's always going to be in red. And that's like a $15 or $20 fix. It's super easy. But it's one more thing your client sees in red on our report. And let's be honest, when they look at it, all they see is red. They don't know what half of it is. All they see is, I love this property. Oh no, red stuff. And it's a stopping point for them. And we have seen literally when we've been reviewing the inspection on site with the buyer, we've seen them physically start backing away from us when we're explaining things to them. That's a bad sign for everybody, right? Our job, and we train our guys weekly to do this and deal with this. Watch body language, watch your own body language, watch your own language. What you say matters. It really matters a lot. You can really misstep by saying the wrong thing. Just like that, and it kills a deal, right? So we're very careful about words we use, words we don't use. But our goal is to get that backing up process to stop and get them to either move back forward to us or allow us to move closer to them. So we literally roll, this is going to sound stupid. This is true though. We role play where we'll have somebody explain some things. We'll purposely have a guy start backing up and our guy will start saying, you know, manageable, manageable, manageable. You know, this is easy to take care of. You know, this can be done in a quick fix, you know, and you can see I'm moving forward. That's what they do. And when the person stops backing away from them or in the best of circumstances actually moves forward towards them, we win. And you guys deal with objections, you guys role play, you guys workshop, all those things you do to help you do your job. We do too, just in a slightly different angle. And it makes the difference. It really does. It's one of the reasons we've been around for so long. It's one of the reasons a lot of people trust us with their clients is we can do the inspection. A lot of people can. But what can you do after the inspection? Can you help this client understand that, yes, there's things wrong with this house, but it shouldn't ever stop you from going forward with this, especially if this is the property you really want. This is the one you made the offer on, you're an escrow, you're going to go get this property. There's no reason to stop. These are all easily taken care of. They all are. Okay? All right, let's roll forward. All right, access. This is my favorite topic. So I'm going to preface this really quick with a story and a tip for you guys. So we don't inspect refrigerators. We just don't. We're going to walk right by them every time we see them, okay? Because there's no reason for us to inspect them. They're moving out of the house with the owner. But if that refrigerator has an ice machine in it or a water dispenser in it, it's got a plumbing line behind it. And if that plumbing line is behind it, it's not very large. It's about that big around. It's copper. It's this little stringy thing that goes into the wall behind it. We can't move that refrigerator, right? But if it's there on the day of our inspection and someone, seller or seller's agent, somebody kind enough to move it away from the wall, just enough for my guy to get back there and put the moisture meter against that wall, if you guys can do that for yourselves and for your buyers, you'll be doing them a huge favor. Here's why. Have an agent at Realty One Group in Irvine, and one of her buyers bought a house. Refrigerator was there. We walked right by it. No big deal. There's a water line behind it, and it was leaking. It was leaking for so long that when they did finally buy the house, move in and open up the wall, when they put their own refrigerator, the whole wall was kind of stained dark, right? So they opened up the wall. 7 different studs from top to bottom were black and green. They were molded over, and 2 of them had rotted mostly away. It cost them almost $13,000 to rebuild that, well, kind of an L-shaped wall. 13 grand after they just bought this house. That is not what you want to have happen to your client. Now it's an exception to the rule. That's not going to happen all the time. But just to make sure that nothing is wrong, the more access we have to the house, the better. And the more information your buyer will have, you know. And if there is a problem and it's that bad, or if it's bad at all, maybe that isn't the house for them. But we need to talk about that. We need to find out. And identifying and reporting is our job. That's what we're there for. We're there to find out. This house looks great. It's got the right number of bedrooms, it's got the right number of bathrooms, it's got the right square footage, it's got the right yard. But is it structurally sound? Do all the systems work properly? And if not, what's it really going to cost me to move in? And then fix all this stuff, because they're putting every dollar they have into getting in, right? That's most of the cases. Okay, so when it comes to access, some of the common things we come across are gated communities. When you're booking an inspection with us, we need to know if it is a guarded gate or gate guarded. Do you guys know the difference? If it's gate guarded, that means the property is surrounded, the community is surrounded by a gate, usually has gate code. So it's guarded by the gate, right? Gate guarded. If it's a guarded gate, that means a person is there, usually checking IDs for people going in and out. Either way, we need to know either the gate code so we can get in to get to the property and meet you there with your buyer, or we need to have our guy's name given to you so you can give it to the guard at the gate. I know that sounds really, really rudimentary, but you have no idea how many calls we get every week. Hey, I'm stuck at the front gate. Can you call the agent for me? And it happens. You know, one of the reasons that happens, in fairness, is not on you guys, it's on us. If you call me with an address and you want to book an inspection and you give me the address, I look it up, I'm seeing like Redfin pictures or Zillow pictures. So I'm not seeing the whole community always. So I can't tell if there's a gate. I may not think to ask if it looks like it wasn't, like every house isn't exactly alike, it may not occur to our call center to ask, hey, is there a gate around this community? And if so, is there a code that we can give our guys to get in so we can ensure they get there on time? So it doesn't always occur to our call staff to ask, but if there's a gate, if there's anything stopping my guy from physically getting to the driveway of the property, let us know. And we add that on the order, there's sections for it and everything. But that and property gates around the actual property itself, the house or whatever, if they're locked, they need to be unlocked. And animals. So cats, no problem. 4 or 5 large dogs might be an issue. We love if those were put away. Those are probably more obvious things, but these are issues we come across on a regular basis. Happens almost weekly. Ensuring access points and areas of concern are free of obstacles, belongings. If a seller knows they're going to have their home inspected, where are they going to put all their stuff? Garage, under sinks and closets, right? Guess where we need to go. Guess the first place we go. That's where we go. So it all comes back to the liability thing. We can't move other people's property because if we damage it, we're liable. If we break something, we're liable. If we cause a slip and fall hazard, we're liable. Liable. So we make a habit, a process of not touching other people's stuff. That includes the 700 Target bags that are under their kitchen sink that they're saving for a rainy day, right? I know it sounds really dumb and it's light, it's easy to move. You can even kind of squish it aside, but we just can't. So when you guys are doing your first walkthrough, just kind of make mental notes and say, okay, or when you're doing your own, do you guys use the Avid form? Okay.
Yes.
So when you guys are doing your Avid, I'll give you some tips on what to do and what not to do with the Avid too. Don't ever fill one out when the inspector's there.
No.
That's the best tip I can give you. Here's why. If we open something or like an attic hatch and you see something, you're now obligated to report it. Please don't do that. Stay in your lane. Let us stay in ours. Let us have more liability than you. That's the free tip of the day. So if we can have anybody move and clear some of that stuff, it'd be great, especially the garages. We find particular problems with garages because water heaters and furnaces are often in garages and people put all kinds of crap in their garage. Surfboards, extra car parts, kids' toys, whatever it is, and they're all over the place. And we can't get to those items. And if we can't look at the water heater, you're going to have a big question mark and a gap in our report. And we don't want that for you. If any of our guys have to go back to a property to re-inspect or to finish after things have been cleared out, it's going to cost your client $200 every time we come back out, which it really is kind of above it. We try to avoid that if we can by making sure you guys are aware of the access problems. So anywhere that there's pipes that we want to be able to see, which is under sinks, closets typically have attic panels, sometimes crawl space panels in them. That's why we need those cleared out. They don't have to be completely empty. We just need access to the parts we need. So if there's an attic panel in the master bedroom closet, and there's a whole bunch of stuff in the top of the closet, just make sure that they move that stuff so we can get to that panel. As long as we can push it open and get in there, we're good. Okay. Talked about the refrigerator thing, furniture items. Not everything needs to be moved away from a wall, but let me give you an example of why we consider these things. So there are safety and health issues and major defects that go in red on our summary. Those are the things that make it into red. There are other problems, defects with the house that are in our report, but not in red in the summary, usually cosmetic stuff. So let me give you an example. Let's say a smoke detector is not working in the hallway. Great, fine. That's going to be in red. That's going to be an easy call out. Client's going to see it, whatever. But let's say right behind the living room couch, somebody at some point took a stick and just gouged the wall, right? Not enough to damage the drywall, but enough to make a scratch, a noticeable scratch about 4 or 5 feet long. And it's right below the level of the couch. We're never going to see it, okay? Even if the couch were pulled out, it would be in the report and there'd be a picture of it, but it would not be in red. Now, is the smoke detector or the scratch in the wall going to bother your buyer more? That's why it's important to know where that stuff is. The scratch in the wall is going to bug me more because I want that fixed, even if I'm going to put another couch there. But these are all things that kind of clue you into what our guys think when they go into a room. Because you guys, you enter a property, you look at it differently than an average person who's going to live there, right? You guys are looking at different features, different things, saleable points, weak points, things like that. And then for us, we look at it different too. So we're always looking for access. What's behind this? What's under there? We don't lift throw rugs. We don't take pictures off of walls, things like that. And there could be all kinds of things stuck out there. Or are you gonna he's gonna take over for me? Oh, yeah, go. Okay, thanks. But don't get ahead of me now. Okay, so you guys have any questions on access or anything we've talked about so far? Nothing? All right, you guys are really good. Okay, fantastic. Okay, roll me forward.
Okay, forward.
Oh,
That one.
yeah, it's real sensitive. Roll forward, there you go. Okay. So there are a ton of things we offer as a company. We're large, we're old, we've been around forever, we've been doing this forever, we've added all kinds of services. We try not to add anything we consider fluffy, that's not of any real value to you guys. And obviously not every property is going to warrant having all these things done, but these are some of the things we do. So on the home inspection, the short version for your clients, if they ever ask, well, what does an inspection do? We're going to look at the structure and all of the systems that are inherent to the structure. Okay, so plumbing, HVAC, electrical, the roof, we technically consider that a system. And then the whole structure, including the raised foundation, if there is one. If it's a slab, we can't look at it because the house is not. So we're going to look at the exterior, the interior, the plumbing, the electrical. Go ahead and roll me forward one more, if you would, please. Oh, there you go. Okay. So, and then our services we offer, we have a roofing division. It's a licensed roofing contractor. It's a company called Rocket Roofing. He was one of our home inspectors, and about 15 years ago, we fired him. Said, Alan, you're a great guy. You're one of the best people we've ever had. You're fired. What we want you to do is start a roofing company. Okay. Start a roofing company. They're our partner. So you can have an actual licensed roofer come out and inspect the roof outside of our home inspection, which will also look at the roof, but they won't be able to do much more than comment on what they find. This guy can actually write you up an estimate and do the repairs if you want him to, which is great. A house under 3,000 square feet and a roof inspection is like 195. It's almost nothing. And then he can do the work if you want him to. On the listing side, if you guys are interested in this, for those of you who list, which is great, roof certifications. If our roofer goes out to the property and inspects the roof, if there's repairs or things that need to be done, he'll write those up and say this is what it's going to cost to fix. If there's nothing to be fixed or the repairs have been done, they'll certify that roof for 2, 3, or 4, or 5 years, whatever you decide to purchase for your client. And you know how your home warranties have limits on their amounts of payout? Like if the roof leaks, it's going to be good for $1,000 per occurrence for 5 years, whatever it is, right? Whatever it costs, does not matter. There is no cap. If that roof leaks during the certification period, my roofer's fixing it, period, which is really, really nice. The reason I mentioned on the listing side is it's a great way to advertise one more perk about the house that's already been taken care of. And let's be honest, the roof is a darn important piece, right? If I'm going to go buy a house and somebody shows me a certification, hey, if this roof leaks in the next 4 years, this guy from Rocket Roofing will fix it, no cost cap. Oh, give me that. You know, the 2-year roof certification is $490. Yeah, $490. And they go up by $100 for each year you want in addition to that. So it's not a bad deal. So if you're going to do your pre-listing inspections, if you guys do those, I recommend it. But if you do those, you might want to make that part of it. Mold analysis and indoor air quality are kind of part of the same thing. They're both for identifying if something is mold and if so, what type. And back to your guys' habits, mold is not a word you should ever use. It's a word we don't use until we are certain that we have tested it and we've gotten we've gotten the lab results back and it says it's this. We're going to say it's staining or irregular staining or whatever. We're not going to say dark staining, light staining, water staining. We're not going to qualify it by any of those means. It's just staining until we know what it is. And mildew and mold are different substances. You guys know the difference between the two? Okay, here's the short version. This is why mold is such a big issue. If there is a darkish substance here on the wall and it ends up being mildew, You could clean the surface and not have a problem. If it's mold and we would swab it, send it to the lab, and it comes back, it's some type of mold. The problem with mold is it feeds and it goes inward. So it feeds that way. So it will be behind, if you see it on the surface and it is mold, it will be behind the wall as well, which means that wall needs to be open, needs to be treated, cleaned, it's a big process and it can get very expensive. And it doesn't even have to be that big a deal, but that's why we try not to use that word, because mold, the buyer, means something terrible. The only thing they hear in their head is black mold, Stachybotrys, it's going to kill us all, that kind of thing. That's just what the media has taught them. And mold comes in hundreds of colors. It's pink, it's white, it's green, it's brown, it's black, it's beige. Every color you can imagine, mold grows in. And there are thousands of different varieties, right? Most of them we're surrounded by right now, and they don't cause you a bit of harm whatsoever. Mold is very normal in our environment. There are some that can be problematic for people with asthma or allergies of some kind, or who are, have respiratory problems, things like that. That's the only reason we want to test it. The reason we do two different sort of analyses, the mold analysis is when we can see something, a stain, that we can actually physically swab, send that to a lab, have it tested. If you don't see any staining, or we don't see any staining and there's nothing to swab, the next best bet is to do an indoor air quality test, where we will test the air for mold spores, what type and what count. And really the results of the test come back in a big chart, and it'll say elevated, severely elevated, or normal. That's really all it'll say for the different sample areas we take. So let's say you go into a house, it's, I don't know, 1,800 square feet. We'll take one sample from outside as a control sample, so we know what the normal is. We'll take two from inside the house, usually one in whatever problematic area there is. So if there's an area that has like a musty smell or something like that, we'll take it in that location or right next to it, like in the hall. And if it comes back normal, you're great. If it's elevated in any way, it's very sensitive. What we do is we put this little vacuum machine up, and it looks like a little tripod that you've seen people put their phones on. It looks like one of those things. And it's got a little tiny air canister. It's about that big around, about that tall. It's a little disc. And it just sucks air into it, vacuum seals it. We have to fill out a chain of custody when we send it to the lab. They fill out a chain of custody when they send it back to us, so we know who's touched it and how many times and all that kind of stuff. And it's about 3 days to get those results back, okay? So if we do one of these and you're in escrow and you've got a 7 or 10 day contingency, make sure you get the appointment really early. Let us know, because those 3 days will go by and you'll be like, I need that report ASAP. And we know that too. And as those time frames change, we'll work with you to make sure that it happens. But that's mainly what those two are for. If we can see something, we're going to do a mold analysis. If we can't, we want to do an indoor air quality. 9 times out of 10, you're probably never going to do these, but you may have clients that are super sensitive about this or ask a lot of questions about it. For their peace of mind, if nothing else, especially if there's no stains noted, have this one done. Just have it done so you can come back, oh, it's normal, it's fine. Or if it is elevated, you're going to want to know ahead of time so they don't have a problem and then sue us all later. You know what I mean? All right. This one, we might do 2 of these a year, but every once in a while, somebody buys a property underneath one of those great big iron electrical tower things, or by a cell tower, and they might have an infant or young children, and they're really sensitive about the electromagnetic output of these electrical things near them. We have equipment that measures what those numbers are, and I can't remember what the scale is called. There's a name for the scale. And if it's like over 32, it's slightly elevated. If it's over like 48, it's elevated. And if it's over 60 something, it's can be considered a hazard. And it causes headaches, nausea, things like that, dizziness sometimes in some people, but some people are not real susceptible to it. Some people are. It's going to be your families with young children or infants that are going to be most sensitive about this. So if they ever ask about EMF or electromagnetic field testing, yes, we do that. Costs like $250.
So usually keep those houses under those big wire tower.
Yeah,
tower.
the big ones.
Yeah. Do they really have a?
Do they really emit something?
Like anything?
Yep.
How far from that tower usually?
It depends on what sort of current is moving through that thing. Usually those big ones kick out quite a lot. It could be 2 or 3 houses down. And I'll give you an example. Let's say you and your wife have a brand new baby, okay, like 6 months old. The baby is going to be more sensitive to it than you are. They just are. And it might cause nausea, it might cause headaches, it might cause fussiness, whatever. I don't know all the physical ramifications of it, but there are some people who are just sensitive to that kind of thing, much like people are sensitive to allergies and stuff in the air. You know, there are people with asthma. I don't have asthma, but I know people who do, and they suffer badly for it. I don't. So it's really a matter of who your client is and whether they're interested or wanting that kind of thing. You know,
How about those unit like Edison has like those, not a tower.
no,
but
but the power,
just like
power
a
stations.
Power station,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That one also?
So if you're buying a house like within 1 or 2 doors of that location, it's something to at least be aware of. Should you do this for everybody that's moving in there? No. I would save it for the people who, you know, they're looking at the property, they see the electrical or the power station or whatever it is, and they say, ooh, do you think we can have that looked at? That's when you want to bring it up to us, and we can absolutely do it. It's really easy to do. It does not take very long. It takes about 45 minutes. Because we're gonna measure from different sides of the house, and then one inside the house will take about 4 or 5 measurements. And at least you'll get an idea of the numbers, and they can give you the scale, and the report includes what the scale means, all defined and stuff. So it's a good way to go. And again, like with the indoor air quality, some of your clients are going to be wanting this. Some of your clients are going to ask for it because, you know, they do all their research before they talk to you. They know everything about property before they talk to you guys, right? And these are the things they find. They find all the alarmist sort of things. And sometimes it's legit. Sometimes they have sensitivities and problems with it. I get that. Most of them are just hearing what the media is telling them to do, and they're responding to that. Okay. Either way, we can solve the problem for you. We just need to know about it and schedule it. That's the only thing. So, but it is available. We can do it. Can you roll me forward one real quick? I'm not interrupting your homework, am I?
No, I'm taking, I'm taking
just
notes,
kidding.
taking notes. Is that it?
There we go. Okay. So we also offer termite. And as we were discussing earlier, termite costs are under 3,000 square feet for a property is $130. And they can go pretty much anywhere in Southern California, except for like Lancaster, Palmdale, into Ventura County, but pretty much all of LA, parts of San Bernardino, Riverside, Orange County, basically where you guys would be transacting. We do the sewer scopes also, not septic. Our equipment will stay in a little pipe, which is great. But a septic tank is a larger body. We can't manipulate the camera to move around so that it wouldn't even work. It would just, you'd see a wall and that's it. Sewer scopes are great. If you want a guide for when to do a sewer scope or when we recommend it, 30 years old or older. Any property 30 years old or older. Now, that puts it in the 90s. That doesn't sound like it was that long ago. Wasn't that long ago for me. And I'm in my late 50s now, so. But 30 years or more, you probably ought to do a sewer scope just to make sure that there's nothing wrong with that. Standing water, blockages, cracks, root intrusions into the pipe. There's all kinds of things that can go wrong. And there does not need to be a 700-year-old tree in the front yard for roots to get in there. It can happen from shrubs that are, 3 or 4 years old. We've seen it from all kinds of crazy stuff. Usually, if you're just doing the home inspection, what will clue our inspector into suggesting the sewer scope is if the water in different areas of the home, multiple areas of the home is not draining properly. Because they're all gathering in that one pipe going to the same location. Something's stopping this from doing what it's supposed to be doing. You might want to do this. And many of them, all of them rather, they have the equipment to do it. So if you choose, or if your client chooses to do a sewer scope or the indoor air quality, they all have the ability to do that on site. You can upgrade and add that service on site with these guys. So if you schedule the home inspection, you're not just locked into that and that only forever. You can upgrade certain things on site, make it super easy. Foundation review. This is something that's relatively new for us. It's about 2 years old. We have a licensed foundation retrofitter contractor on. He's our partner. He's in our preferred partner program. And this guy is one of the best of the best of the best. When you talk about foundations and retrofitting with the contracting world out there, this guy's name invariably comes up. His name is YC, just like the letters, YC. And he's great. Now, obviously, this is only for raised foundations. We can't look at a slab because the house is sitting on it. But if you already know that there may be some issues with a foundation, you can just bypass us and I'll give you that guy's phone number, have him come out. Because he will give you an honest opinion. He'll tell you exactly what it'll take to either fix it or repair it or replace portions of it, whatever it is. This is the guy you want working on your foundations. He's amazing. It's YC Builders is the name of the company. YC is the owner, and he is tremendously good at what he does. We've had him in to train our inspectors probably 4 times this year, 3 times last year, and he's even worked with our call center to make sure that they can know enough about what he does and how he does it so that they can answer questions when you guys call him. I mean, he's really, really great. Pools and spas. Pools and spas in ground can be added to the home inspection. They are not automatically included. And what we inspect is the equipment mainly that runs the pool. So we're going to turn the filter on, the heater on, make sure they operate properly and heat things and whatever. We are not going to heat the whole pool. That will take too long. But we also will not be putting a snorkel on and getting into the basin looking for hairline cracks. We don't have the equipment to do it, and we don't have the snorkels and fins to give out to everybody. So if you're looking for, hey, does the pool leak in any way, shape, or form? You're going to want a pool contractor to come out for that. So just bypass us. Don't bother spending the extra $100, which is what this was cost to add. Go right to the pool contractor. Okay, that's the best way to go. Don't spend any extra money, please. Unnecessary. All right, roll me forward one more. Other way. There we go. Okay. So sorry. Fun part. There's lots and lots and lots of ways to pay. And I get asked this all the time. One, how much does it cost? But two, how do you pay? So if you call and book an inspection with us, you're going to get a confirmation email of the date and time of the appointment. Your client's going to get the exact same thing, except theirs is going to be about 6 pages longer. 2 reasons for that. One, they're going to have the payment options in it. There's also going to be a link in it to sign our service contract, because we have one, just like you guys have a contract that we need them to agree to it. So there's a service contract. And then there's their payment options. This is all electronic version. So they can pay with electronic check. I'll go back to the first one in a second. Electronic check. There is no additional fee on that. Okay. If there's ever a situation where we need to refund part or some of a service or the inspection fee or whatever, we have to wait for their check to clear, and we cut them a physical check and mail it to them. Okay, so that's the only downside, if there is one, to ACH, the electronic check. Credit card, they can pay with credit card, but there is a 3.5% fee on that. Now, on average, right now, a home inspection with services, whatever, our average inspection fee is around $550. Okay, 3.5% of $550 is somebody's lunch, a nice lunch, right? So if you can push them in the direction of ACH, wonderful. If they can pay with cash or check on site as well at the inspection and give it to the inspector, that's great too. I've got 2 payments in my car right now that I have to take to the bank after this meeting. Okay, that's just the way it goes. I try to save people money because I know everything, everything they're doing is expensive. They've got all this money in escrow. They've got every dime they've saved getting put into this house, and they still have to pay for all these extra services. Believe me, I'm sensitive to it because I'm not rich either. So if I can save your people some money, I will. It's why I put this up here. So electronic check is your best option. Credit card, if they're fine with it, but make them more 3.5%. And then there's Flex Fund. Flex Fund is what we call our pay at escrow, pay at close of escrow payment option. There's no charge for it. Okay. The trick is you guys, your client probably won't have the escrow information. You may not have the escrow number, who to contact, who the officer is, what their phone number, email. They may not have that. So what will happen is they're going to fill out, I want the Flex Fund. They do have to put their credit card and name and stuff information at the bottom, because if it falls out of escrow, we still want to get paid. But we're not billing that credit card. Then a company called Guardian Financial will contact you guys. And Guardian Financial is our partner who helps arrange and bank all this stuff. They're going to ask you for the escrow information. Now, if you've never heard of Guardian Financial and you scheduled an inspection with us and your client, unbeknownst to you, chooses Flex Fund, you magically get an email asking from some company called Guardian, asking for your client's escrow. You're not going to give it to them, are you? You better not, right? But I'm telling you, Guardian Financial is our company. It should say Guardian Inspection Company or Guardian Financial Inspection something. They are tied to us. They're our partner. If you ever have a question or you get a weird email and you book something with us, you call me first. And my business cards are all over the table, so keep those numbers. And if you ever have a problem or a question, you call me first before anybody else. You can usually troubleshoot or answer pretty much everything. The things I can't, I know where to go to get the answers, which is just as important. But Flex Fund is probably our most common payment option, followed very closely by credit card. Strangely enough, only about 20% of the people use ACH. Don't know why. But if you want to wrap it into escrow, we can do that. Credit card, we can do that. Pay on site with cash or check, we can do that. Electronic check, we can do that. We'll take money any way we can get it. But, we try to make it convenient for everybody. That's just the way it is. Now, pursuant to this, roll me forward one more. I don't know if I added this slide or not. I probably did not. I did not. Okay, I'll get to this in a second. Go ahead and leave it there. When it comes to getting your report, our inspectors will publish or upload their report into our system, usually at the end of the day. So like after they're done with their second inspection, so let's say 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night. Once that is uploaded into our system, if it's already been signed for, our service agreement, and paid by the client, you guys will be able to open that link immediately. If it's not signed or it's not paid or both, even though it's published, you'll get the link that says, hey, your report's ready, but it will not open. It's locked behind that paywall. So in order to get the inspection report, we have to make sure it's paid, signed, and uploaded. Those are the 3 things that have to happen. So typically, if you have an inspection today, if by tomorrow at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you still don't have it, call me and I'll find out why. And it's usually because it's either not signed or paid or both. We'll rectify that. I'll get you the links for your client. You can take care of it. And as soon as it's done, boom, you can open the report all in your month. Okay, but typically, in a perfect world, if it's paid and signed for ahead of time or by the inspection time, you're going to have your report within that same day. Larger properties like duplexes, triplexes, commercial properties, they can take up to 24 hours, which is our guarantee. You're going to have it in 24 hours. That's the longest we'll take. Okay. Doesn't matter how big the commercial is either. They can get big. Okay. Any questions on any of that? I know it's boring stuff about payments and stuff.
No, it's very
Because it doesn't affect you guys directly, but it's, and I don't expect you to remember all this stuff. If you guys have questions or, hey, what was that middle part again? Just call me. That's why my cards are out here. Okay, so one of the most common questions we get asked when we're doing the inspection is, well, what's that going to cost me to fix it? Now, I've owned my house for a little over 12 years, and I've been working for the inspection company I work with for about 3.5. I grew up with the guys that run the company. The CEO used to date my little sister in high school. That's how I know these guys. So, and one of our commercial inspectors, Corey, he's a great guy. I've known him since he was 11. We're both in our late 50s. I'm 57, he's 54. So we've known each other a while. So I've always known about this company and all that stuff. And he tells me the greatest stories about his inspections and stuff. But most commonly we get asked, what's it going to cost? So I had my house inspected by Corey 2.5 years ago. I got my house kind of from my parents, rented from for a while, whatever, but it has not been taken care of well. My dad was a terrible landlord. So he did not upgrade a lot of things. He did not fix a lot of things. So now I'm stuck with all the bills. What I wanted it to be inspected to tell me what was wrong with the house. And every home inspection we do, single family home, condo, or mobile home, comes with a free repair pricer. What they do is we send our report to this company called repairpricer.com. And they give a quote on repairs or estimates, or whatever, based on our summary, what they find in our summary of our report. Every single thing on that list will be itemized on a repair pricer report. That's what I wanted. I knew stuff was wrong with the house. I knew the water heater was old. It was a tankless one, but it was like this big. It was massive. It was one of the original ones. Stupid. And I knew there were other problems with the house, but I needed to know what they would cost, or at least give me a ballpark figure so I could budget for these things. So my inspector, Corey, walked me through the house and said, there's 4 things you've got to take care of in the next 6 to 8 months. These are the important things. The water heater, because the gas line is too narrow. It's supposed to be 2 inches, 1.5. It's not getting enough gas. And he said, does your hot water just turn off magically in the middle of nothing? Like you've only been running it for I said, yeah. I said, that's why. It's not getting fed enough gas to fuel itself. So that's why it's doing that. And it's old. So you need to get rid of this thing and replace it. Okay, great. There was a section, I have PVC pipe from the house, from the main to my home, and then the rest of the house is copper, with the exception of one section on the back end of my house. Exterior pipes on the outside of the house go from my kitchen to the master bathroom, all galvanized. About 9.5 feet, and then inside the wall, another 4 feet. Okay, I'll use that one as my example. The quote on the repair pricer was about $950 to replace that whole 9.5 foot section of pipe with copper and insulate it and all the stuff that they do. But it's because the inspection was visual, we couldn't see how many feet were inside that wall. So it ended up being $1,190 to fix. Not that big a difference, but the difference was what we could see, which is in our report, what we could not see, which was not in the report. So all the way back to access, if you know you're going to get a repair pricer, and this only goes to you guys and us, this does not go to the client. It's not for their eyes, it's for you guys. Okay, it's a negotiation tool. If you know you're going to get a repair pricer, you probably want as much on there as possible. That means we need to be able to see and inspect and record as much as possible. Okay. And you may even have a discussion with one of our inspectors. Hey, I know this normally isn't going to be in the summary, but could you put it in there? so I can get it on the repair price, so we can know what this is gonna cost to fix, so I can send it with my request for repairs. That's what kind of tool this is. It's amazing. Is it dollar for dollar 100% accurate? No, but it's pretty damn close. The way they come up with the costs is it's zip code specific. It's developed by an AI algorithm, and every single report is reviewed by a master builder before it's released. And that's pretty cool. Now, how do you get one? It's easy, sort of, but you want to understand the process. So today is Wednesday. Let's say you have your inspection today. You'll have your report from us, paid, signed, whatever, by the end of today or early tomorrow. When that comes out, you're going to get an email from repair pricer saying, hey, the summary of your repair pricer is $8,000. Would you like the full report? Like, yeah. And you can rush it for an extra cost. Don't do that. And you can get a super duper version, a plus version or something like that for some extra money. Don't do that either. All it does is include NHD stuff, which you already have. Okay, don't do those. Get the free, right? Within 24 hours of you asking for that report, you're going to have your repair pricing. So you'll have our report and the repair price in total within 48 hours. And it's amazing. I have agents that literally will just send this to their seller. Now, here's my request for repairs. They're not going to say yes to everything, but it gives them, it makes it look like you've done your homework without having 7 different contractors to the property to give you quotes and arranging all that logistics and junk. It's a great tool. That's why I got my house inspected, is just so I could get this. That's how much I like it. And it's really cool. Now, beyond that, there's 2 ways you can go about if you don't have a stable of contractors of your own that you keep in your back pocket. Oh, I've got this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy. They can do the repairs for you. They'll use Curbio to do it. If you guys are familiar with who Curbio is, they do home restoration, home renovations and improvements with the seller paying the costs at close of escrow. So they'll remodel the whole kitchen for 10 grand. You list the house for 12 grand more. The seller nets 2 grand and they pay off the debt of remodeling the kitchen if they want to do it that way. That's what Curbio does, right? They use Curbio's network of contractors to do their work for them. So it's good work. It's something they do all the time. They can do anything from roofing to kitchens to tile to drywall to whatever. So you can do it that way. They obviously, you try to stay as close to the estimate from the repair pricer as possible. Again, pursuant to the fact that we're judging by what we could have seen at the time of the inspection, which is what it's all based on. So there are some limitations built in. So just be aware that it's never going to be 100% dead even. Might be, but not likely. But it'll be close. It'll be really close. The other option is we as a company cannot get involved directly in repairs. We don't do repairs. The Elite Group does not. However, like with our roofing guy, we started a roofing division by way of kicking a guy out our door and say, hey, start your own company. And now we're his partner. We have other partners like that. I've got a solar panel expert. So if you ever want solar panels examined and stuff like that, we can do that too. That's brand new to us, by the way. We just started that 2 months ago. We've got general contractors. I actually have a licensed architect in our preferred program. We've got about 12 vendors so far. And we're very picky about who we work with because they reflect on us. And we have been around long enough that we can't afford to be made to look bad. So it takes a long time to bring somebody on board. Once they're on board, we like to use them if we can. So repair pricer, move to the repairs. If you want to, you can go through them. You can go through us if you'd like to. If you've got your own people, please use them. Keep money in their pockets. I have no argument with that whatsoever. But if you don't, and you are at a loss or you need somebody to fill a gap for you, let us know. And we can probably fill it for you. Okay? All right, roll me forward. One more.
All right,
I
let's get
promise
this
we'll
right.
wrap this
Let's see if
up.
I get this right.
There you go. Okay.
Sorry about that.
So the repair pricer was automatically included with every single family home, condo, and mobile home inspection. That's for you guys. That's your tool. This tool is owned by the same company, Repair Pricer. This product is called Home Binder. This is for your buyer. So your buyer buys a house, moves in. They're going to get an operating system that does all this stuff. It'll store their inspection documents, organize paint colors by room, keep their current insurance, send them maintenance reminders, track the value of the home, all kinds of fun stuff. Sorry, it overlapped a few things and slide messed up a little bit. Basically, it's a digital platform to replace that drawer that everybody keeps their crap in the kitchen. Anything to do with the house, you can photos, documents, you can upload into this thing. And it's kind of like an email inbox visually, but it's got tabs instead of lines of stuff. sections of housing, whatever. What this does for you guys passively though is this, where it says, send me maintenance reminders about, on average, some houses are different, about 6 to 8 times a year. The buyer, the owner of the home at that point, is going to get a maintenance alert saying, hey, you've lived in your house for 6 months. Congratulations to you. It's time to change your air filters. Home binders, the little HB down there is going to be in the lower corner of that email. Our branding is going to be in the lower right corner. Your branding is at the top. Your picture, your email, your phone number, everything about you is at the top of that email. So it looks like it comes from you. So when you help a buyer buy a property, you probably call them 90 days later, 30 days later, whatever. Hey, how's it going? Do you know anybody else who might be interested in, buying or selling property? You do that. This is one more way passively to make that happen for the life that they have this operating system, which means the life that they own the home. They have when we offer this and we set this, we send this link to them, we have about 70, I think it's 74% open rate on this. Of the 74% who open them, about 90% of them signed up for it. So most of the people who do our inspections have them. We do 420 inspections a week. That's a lot of names and a lot of places and a lot of maintenance alerts, right? And that's, again, we don't want to add value to our product by adding fluff. This means something. It means something to the buyer. It's very handy for the buyer. I have one and I love mine. But it also means something to you. And then tied to this also is that repair pricer, which should mean the world to you. That's one of the greatest tools we've ever found. So HomeBinder is a great tool. The one other thing that the client will get is they will get one phone call, just one. If they miss the call, they'll call out. But they'll get one call from a concierge service from HomeBinder offering once, we'd like to set up your utilities, your cable, your digital, your dish network, whatever you use. We'd like to set all that up for you at your new house. If you'd like us to do that, we're happy to help you. Would you like to do that? If they say yes, great. Let's start the process. If they say no, they're never going to get contacted again. That's how easy it is to opt out of that. But it's a service that they offer to all the home buyers out there, which is kind of nice. 20, 30% of people out there might want that and use it. The rest won't, and that's fine. Just say no, no harm, no foul. But the ones that want it, need it, loads off their mind because they've got plenty else to do, right? Especially moving into a house for the first time. God help them. All right, roll me forward one more. I think we're probably at the end. Nope. Other direction. Oh, one last thing. Yes. So I know this is all chopped off at the bottom here, but basically it goes to the border of Mexico. That is our service area. This is where we can do home inspections. So we actually do go to Barstow. We go all through the Palm Springs and Indio Coachella corridor. We go all the way out to Camarillo and Ventura, Lancaster, Palmdale, and Rosamond above it. Rosamond is what's between Lancaster and Mojave. And everything in the middle. So if you have a property somewhere in Southern California, chances are very, very strong we can inspect it for you. Okay. And that's for the property inspection itself. Some of our services like the foundation review and the termite are a little bit more limited because they're their own companies. Our roofing division will go everywhere we go. But the termite and foundation review are a little bit smaller than this, but just so you know where we can do the home inspections, pretty much anywhere. Okay, commercial inspections are an only exception to this. Some commercial inspections will go further. It depends on what the property is. If it's a 200 square foot retail store, probably not. But there's the city of Fresno does business with us, and they built a new animal control facility about 2 years ago. It's about 90,000 square feet, 4 different buildings. Some of them were kennels, but the rest were offices, medical facilities, things like that. They hired us to go up and inspect it for them when they were getting ready to open it. So that's Fresno. That's well outside this area, but we made the drive. So it's not always about dollars. It's really about clients, accounts, and in some small part, the size of the job. We want to make sure it makes sense for our guy to drive that far. But we've gone as far as San Francisco for jobs. Okay. This is our territory. Go ahead and roll me one more. And I think this is at the end. Oh, there you go.
So bad.
That's okay. This is why you do real estate for a living and not that. So you're in the right place. It's all good. Okay, so thank you guys very much for putting up with me for a while. Again, we do residential property, commercial property, sewer scope, mold analysis, indoor air quality testing, roof certification, termite, foundation review, pool and spa inspection, repair pricing, and home binder are part of the products. And you guys have my card and information, so you know where to find me. So one last thing, there are flyers on the desks, the full-size flyer, that has 3 different codes if you want to do, I think one is, indoor air quality, one is for the licensed roof inspection, that's the inspection, not the certification. So normally it's only $195, this is a coupon for $100 off.
Cool.
So a roof inspection by a licensed roofer for $95, can't go wrong. Sewer inspection, you call and book it with any of those codes, you guys can get discounts on those are all great to have. And if you guys have your business cards handy, if I can take your business cards home to the office with me, what I will do is I will send you a code for $100 off your next home inspection. You use it whenever you want, save it for a favorite client, and when you save them money, tell them you got them the deal because you're a rock star. You guys take the credit, I don't need that, I just need your business. Thank you. And that's it.
Thank you so much. I had it on in my office.
Yeah, no problem. I know I
was
get wordy, but
finishing.
it's one of the reasons I talk fast.
Oh, yeah,
There's
no,
so much to
it's
cover.
good.
Thank
It's
you very much.
informative. Thank you all on Zoom, and we will talk to you later.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. It's very informative.
Yeah, his seminars are good. Oh, does anybody know a roofer to refer to Diana Lou? I don't.
Oh, he has a roofing, he has a roofer
Yeah,
guy.
that's a guy.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Does she need a roofer?
Yeah, Diana needs a roofer.
Okay.
It's right
Um,
here.
Diana, call, Brent.
Yeah.
What's your phone number, Brent?
It's area code
951
790
790
9045.
9045. Call Brent. He has a roofer.
Yep.
Thank you all very much.